So today I'm going to be doing a super easy summer makeup tutorial for you. This is not something that I would typically wear. If you know me, you know I love my warm colors, my warm browns, and my golds, and my coppers. But today we are working with all cool tones. So we have cool tone eyes, cheeks, and lips. So this is very outside of my comfort zone. But I figured that I had to make this into a makeup tutorial because yesterday I wore this in a hurry when I was running out the door, and my husband would not stop complimenting my makeup all day long. So I figured that that was a good sign and I should do a tutorial for you because it is so super easy, and there's some great techniques in this that you beginners can really use to advance yourself in makeup artistry. So this is very appropriate for all ages. Anyone who's watching my video, you can do this. There's nothing like crazy about this. I just think it's very appropriate for summertime. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will be seeing you soon. Mwah! Bye! First thing I'm doing is priming my face. I'm using Benefit Stay Flawless. In my opinion, this is the only primer I've ever used that truly works. Then I'm going to go in with something like a BB cream or a tinted moisturizer. These are my two favorite products for the summertime as far as foundation goes. With this primer, you want to work in sections. So you do one cheek and then you blend in. I am using the Smashbox BB cream here, and I'm using shade Light. You work cheek by cheek and then you go on immediately over top because this primer does dry very quickly. This is how Benefit apparently designed this primer to work, and I'm not going to mess with it because it really is amazing. This primer makes your makeup not budge. It's like glue. And as always, I am using the Sigma Flat Top Kabuki brush. This is the F80. Can't live without it. Best foundation brush in the world. I have tried so many in these last couple of months, and still to this day, I cannot say one bad thing about it. This is my favorite foundation brush ever. Then I'm going to go in with the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. I'm using shade NW20. I'm using a damp beauty blender, and I'm going to pat this all under my eyes and on top to conceal for the eyeshadow that we are going to use. Now, in the summertime, I go a little bit lighter with BB creams and tinted moisturizers on the skin, but then I still use a full coverage concealer. Hi, hubby. I still use a full coverage concealer under the eyes because recently I have had very bad dark circles, and I still want something full coverage, so I use that to kind of even it out. So full coverage under the eyes and then light coverage on the rest of the face. Then after that, I'm going to use the MAC Mineralize Skinfinish. This is in shade Light because right now I am very, very fair. I have not used my $1 Million Tan, which is a self-tanner, in quite some time. Then I'm going to use this Stark White Powder. It's a MAC Pro, and I'm going to pat it underneath my eye with a Sigma highlighting brush. I'm just going to lightly pat. I'm not actually dusting, I'm just patting, because if you actually dust your brush, you will move around the foundation and concealer like I'm doing right now. I'm doing that intentionally because some things weren't blended out. Then I'm going to go in with Makeup Geek Shimma Eyeshadow, and this is a Sigma brush. I don't know the number of it. I will put it down below. This is the one that I've told you guys has replaced my MAC 242. Can't live without this brush. Oh my gosh. So I'm just patting this all over my lid. As you can see, I am not going above the crease, and I'm focusing this on the inner corner. Then I'm going to use the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette, and I'm going to take Naked 2 right in the center. And I'm going to use again a Sigma brush. This is just like the MAC 217, a big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to dust it in the outer corner of my eye. So this is a cool tone transition shade. So if you have pink undertones and you are not, a warmer person where you have yellow, goldeny olive tones, this is a great color for you to use as a transition color for all of your makeup and eyeshadow needs. Then I'm going to go in with Crave, that matte black. I'm going to use this pencil brush. Any pencil brush will do. By the way, the ones that I'm using right now with the gold tips, the ferrules, are from the Sigma Extravaganza collection. Oh, just elegance. Anyways, I'm going to just lightly push this into my lash line on that outer corner, and as you can see, I'm really taking my time buffing it up. And then whatever is left over on my brush, I'm not picking up any additional black whatsoever. I just string it in along the lash line. I'm being very careful with this, keeping everything really low, and then I go in with that same brush with nothing on it and buff it out. So this black kind of turns into a gray, and I'm just keeping it really, really low on the lash line, and the only part that I'm flicking it up is the outer corner. Remember, do not buff this any higher than the crease. You want to keep this very low in the crease, so this gives you a really natural, smoky daytime eye. So once again, you start in that lash line as low as you can, and then you kind of pull up in the outer corner. If you want, you can leave it just like that and then go in with some liner. That's beautiful, but I'm doing it a little bit differently today and just dragging it along that entire lash line and then just smoking it out with that brush. Remember, don't put anything additional on that brush, otherwise it can overwhelm it a little bit. Then I'm gonna curl my lashes. I'm using a MAC eyelash curler that I've had for years and years. Any lash curler will of course do. And I'm so sorry, my camera was going in and out of focus this whole time and I wasn't really paying attention. I was moving very quickly. But this is the L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara, the original. Come to find out of all the expensive mascaras I own, that's my favorite. I'm using Venus, that color that you saw all the way to the left, again in the Naked Basics palette, with another Sigma brush that comes in the Extravaganza palette, and I mean, you know, not palette, the brush set. And I'm gonna highlight my inner corners in that tear duct just for more of a pop. Then I'm using the Anastasia Brow Wiz pencil, Brow Wiz, not pencil, just the Brow Wiz. And I'm going to fill in just the outer tail of my brows and drag it in very lightly and naturally. I'm not gonna fill it in as I normally do because I want this to be more soft. I don't want this to be an intense, harsh look. And then I'm gonna use the Anastasia Brow Gel, and it's gonna look really wet and crispy, but it'll dry a-okay. Then once again, I'm gonna use that same Venus shade and just highlight under my brow with that same amazing brush that I use all over my lid. Then I'm gonna go back and add in just a little bit more of that Naked color just because I felt like it wasn't enough as I was sitting back looking at myself, so just dusting a tiny bit more on. Then I'm gonna use MAC's Boot Black. This is totally optional. Yesterday I didn't even do this, but I just thought, why not? So I'm just gonna take a tiny bit of this and just tread it right along my lash line. Literally just press it down on the lashes and drag. I'm not going to go up on the skin and make a harsh line. And then let that dry and do your bottom mascara. So that's what I'm doing right now, again with the L'Oreal Original Voluminous. It's in a tan bottle. I will put all the information for it below. Now after that's dry, with no additional product on my brush, I'm just going to drag it on that lash line a second time, and this will smoke it out even more and just give the eyes more definition and make your lashes look longer and fuller. Then I'm going to use Tarte Amazonian Clay Blush. This is in Blissful. It's a baby doll pink with a little bit of coral, tiny bit, because you know I have to have a little bit of coral somewhere in my makeup. And then I'm just going to buff it out with any brush. Once again, I'm so sorry I'm out of focus, you guys. This is again a Sigma brush, and I'm just gonna buff it out, and then I'm gonna go in with this limited edition MAC Mineralize Skinfinish. It's called Adored. It's out right now with the new collection, and I'm gonna use this just to go over top, just to give me more of like a highlighted effect. This is such a pretty color. It's got some cool tones and some warm tones in it, but it's coming up more cool on my skin. It is so pretty. And then the Mary Luminizer by The Balm. Of course, the most amazing highlighter of all time. And I'm gonna just run this along the tops of my cheekbones for a highlight. Again, this is optional. If you're really oily, you may not wanna do this, but I love this, especially in the summertime. Drag it along the chin, the very top of the mouth of the Cupid's bow, and it'll just bring more life to you. Now I'm gonna use MAC Mineralize Lipstick. Oh gosh, I love this color so much. This is Devine Choice Mineralize Rich Lipstick. And you guys know how to put on lipstick, but I'm actually not using a liner for a purpose. This summer, it's a very big trend not to use liner, but to have more of a blown out bold lip as opposed to an intense, perfectly shaped bold lip. It just looks very feminine and soft. And then I'm gonna go in with MAC Snob Lip Gloss, but you could use one like the Buxom Lavender Cosmo, which was the other one I had. Absolutely gorgeous. I've been loving the Buxom line recently. Absolutely beautiful. And then I'm just gonna set my entire face with the Urban Decay Chill Makeup Setting Spray. Fan yourself off and you are good to go. I will see you guys soon, and thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.